Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds, where I like to collect together all the different things that I've purchased over the past week and present it to you, give you a little bit of background on it, get it from different places like my local record store, but also online like Amazon, eBay, and more. I've got a bunch of different stuff this time. I've got some vinyl, I've got CDs, I've even got some shirts to show you at the end of this. And we'll get into it here in just a bit. But before we start, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by turning on notifications, you're gonna stay up to date on everything going on in the world of music. Just like this, with New Music Finds, we're talking about some cool pickups that I got this past week. All right, so this was kind of an interesting week, both in terms of releases, but also stuff that I ended up finding. So first up, I'm going to show you two releases that dropped for sure digitally last week. One physical CD that isn't due out until next Friday, October 4th, or actually I guess as you're watching this coming Friday, but I already got mine. Michael Schenker, My Years with UFO, my local record store, had it already. I asked them about it and they said they didn't know it was available from the distributor. They ordered it and they got it. So they went ahead and put it out. And like me, having seen that it was already available to stream, assuming that the album was out. Now, whether Amazon just has it only being released on October 4th, I don't know. But I quickly canceled my Amazon order and picked it up through my favorite record store, Sound Exchange, and was so glad to get it. I have done a full review of this. I will leave a link in the description to it, but bottom line on this Michael Schenker album, personally, I really like it. I think they did it up right. The vocalists and everyone that are on it, it's not so out of the ordinary that it sounds like it's a hodgepodge or a tribute to kind of thing where it's kind of jarring going from one song to the next. They all sound like they were recorded together, even though I'm quite sure this was done independently. Some people have talked about the overall sound of it or whatnot. I think it sounds great. I don't have an issue with it. It might not be as bright and lively as some other recordings, but for what it is and the overall sound, when I am listening to it, there is nothing about it that bothers me until I put it on, say, next to something else. And yes, then I hear that this is a little more muddied sounding, but that might just be the overall style of production they were looking for. But like I said, when I'm just in it and I'm just listening to it, I enjoy it. It sounds good to me. And for those of you people that keep crapping all over Axl Rose's vocals for Love to Love, I gotta say I'm surprised because I think they sound really good. That is a personal opinion of mine. I am the first to admit when Axl does not sound good because there are plenty of times that he does not. I think the way that he sung on there sounds great. It is certainly not bad by any means. It might not be the perfect way that you want Axl to sound, and maybe that's part of it, or you might just be somebody who doesn't like Axl Rose. But that's the difference between saying that someone does something in a crappy way versus someone who you just don't like. I think the vocals on it are really good regardless. But that's just my take. Those are some comments and things that I had gotten post having done the review that I wanted to address here. But all in all, this album, if it's not out in your local store already, it will be on Friday. All right, and one that was supposed to come out last week that still was not available, at least through Amazon for me to ship. Some of you guys talked about getting your copies, but Amazon did not know when they were shipping it to me. And I even had to go through a process of approving the continuation of the order because they said they didn't know if they were going to be able to get any more. And at least at the time, my local record store didn't have this. Talking about the new Skid Row Live in London album, for which I've also done a full review, and so I'll leave a link in the description. You can check that out. But this CD DVD of the live show itself, it's a single disc live album, but it's also got the DVD. You know, my biggest complaint about the thing, while I love the sound of the live album, I think they sound great. The crowd noise doesn't overpower it. It's all the things I love about a live album. It's to the point. It doesn't have stuff that meanders on. They didn't put the guitar solo, the drum solo on it, so it is just hit after hit kind of a thing. My only real complaint is the pyro in it. And I already did talk about this in the review, but I listened to the album again and it's just so jarring. When it goes off, it's this thing that creates sparks and it just makes this sort of sound that goes over the top of the vocals and everything. And I think, why wasn't it digitally edited out of the performance, at least in terms of the CD, the audio? Leave it in the video because it would make sense. But, you know, maybe the sound could have been turned down on it. I don't know. All in all, I'm shocked because I've never heard pyro that up front in a live recording. Maybe it's where they set the microphones for all I know, but just not good at all. And I've heard a lot of you also weigh in and agree with my comments on it about that. So it's kind of an interesting take that I was not the only one bothered by that pyro when listening to the audio. Okay, now one that did come out this past Friday, September 27th, Richie Kotzen, Nomad. This is his 22nd solo album, for which I've also done a full review. So again, I'm going to leave a link if you want to check out the full review. But this album here blew me away. I was not, I was surprised. I was not expecting a lot, and ultimately surprised by how good this album was. I've always been a fan of Richie Kotzen, and I like what he does, but he doesn't necessarily bowl me over. And I will say, usually what it is I like half of what he does, and sometimes he veers off into the soul or the R&B or the blues more than I would like him to. Whereas this album here really stayed in line with what he's known for, his guitar shredding and his real soulful, powerful vocals. So this album here almost sounds like a companion piece to the last Winery Dogs album. That's how good it is, and that's the style for which it is. So I was very surprised by that. I was not expecting it, but all in all, a very, very good album, and would highly recommend you checking out the new Richie Kotzen album. All right, next up, Soul Asylum, their brand new album, Slowly But Surely. This one here, I've not had a chance to really digest yet because of so many other things that I've been listening to. But I have to say, so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it maybe even more than the last album. And the last album was a good album, and I ended up really liking that. It was one that didn't so much click with me immediately that like a year later I fell in love with. And this one here, I'm enjoying more upfront on it, albeit I think when I really get a chance to sit down and listen to it, I'm probably going to love it a whole lot. But all in all, yeah, new album from Soul Asylum, so I'm definitely enjoying that. You'll probably see a 1-minute review on that once I've had a chance to digest it a bit more. Here's one from a couple weeks back, at least 2 weeks back. Again, couldn't get this one through Amazon. Ultimately, my local record store was able to get a hold of it. The brand new self-titled Blitzkrieg album from the new wave of British heavy metal band that ultimately Metallica helped make famous by covering their song of the same name, Blitzkrieg. So that was something that brought a lot of notoriety and attention to this group. But Brian Ross, the frontman of the band, still there, still doing it to this day. Don't know how many original guys are still left in this lineup, but ultimately still sounding very good if you're a fan of what bands from that era, the new wave of British heavy metal time and sound did. Bands like Diamond Head and Satan and Bitch of Sin and Tigers of Pantang and stuff like that, you'll like what Blitzkrieg is still doing to this day. I think, again, they're one of those bands that sounds as good, if not better today. Here's one I wasn't expecting that was a new release, but maybe because the box set had already come out on it. The Jethro Tull live album, Busting Out, and this is the Steven Wilson remix version of it. And I chose not to pick up the box set because the bonus stuff was just more live material. And most of you know I'm not a huge live album fan. I do like certain live albums, this being one of them. But I thought I would wait to get the regular release of it, but as the Steven Wilson remix, which they always seem to do, 6 months to a year later. And I don't remember when the box set itself actually came out, but I don't feel like we had to wait all that long on this one. Like, we have on some other box sets when they came out, and ultimately getting the Steven Wilson remix. But this is one that I'm going to have to sit down and digest also and compare it against the original version. But so far, I'm really liking it. Like most things that Steven Wilson does with his remixes, he gives the instrumentation space to breathe. It sounds crisper, cleaner, more upfront. I like that about those mixes, so I'm always happy when he does it. And again, that's what I'm hearing as part of this, but I'm not entirely sure if any other things changed on it until I can sit down and do the comparison. This was another one that, while I knew a box set had dropped, I didn't know they were doing an individual release for this, and it was one of the LPs that I picked up. Thin Lizzy, Johnny the Fox, a 2024 remix of it. So the box set 1976 was released, and it had this album in it along with one other album of Thin Lizzy recorded in the same year, so put out together. And what I did not know was that as that box set that they contained 2024 remixes of the albums. I must have just totally glossed over that or missed that, or it wasn't something that was so prominent in the print when I was first doing my research, because I know I didn't mention that to any of you guys, and I really apologize about that, because had I known that, it would have made much more interest for me to pick up the box, and I would have probably done it, because it was actually not a very expensive box set, somewhere in the $75 range. But it's, again, one of those ones that sells out very quickly. And so even though I really had a lot of the outtakes and other material and stuff from those albums, the remixes were new, and I would have liked that, and now it's proving really hard to find the box set on CD. So I went ahead and picked up the LP edition of this, and first of all, just the fact that it's got this more blue-purple and very vivid album cover, more so than what the album cover was at the time. It's also a gatefold. Nothing fantastic on the inside, having made it a gatefold, but still nice nonetheless, getting to see some of that stuff. And there is a printed sleeve that is in here with it. So we do get that, and we get this image. But what I thought was interesting in here was the red vinyl color on it. So if that is something that you like about vinyl, getting the 180 gram colored red vinyl, plus the fact that this is a 2024 remix, and it stipulates it right there, because a lot of times they're not even printing those things on the albums themselves. That in and of itself is also a bonus to picking it up. And so, having listened to this, I don't feel that there is that much change in the sound from the original to the new, but it is brighter and cleaner. It's what you would expect for something being mixed present day, but it doesn't change it so much that it's missing anything. All right, and then I still got a couple more things to run through with you, and the first one is something that, having had U2 announced that they are now doing a deluxe edition for How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. And so my mind was there, and my musical taste flowed to that area, and I've been listening to a lot of U2 all weekend. When I went to my local record store and wanting more U2, but there not being anything more to pick up. In fact, we had just gotten the release of this, the U2 Zoo TV Tour Live EP that I picked up, mine being a Japanese edition with a bonus track, so I'd already gotten that, and I really thought, well, there's not going to be anything, for me to find. I not only found this U2 Communication, which is an 8-song, I guess, EP, although I didn't check the length of time on it. It's a fan club only release. So I don't know how much you know or follow, and if you follow my channel, you might already know about this, but U2, having had their fan club, which started off as propaganda in a magazine, and you got that, and you got other stuff, eventually turned into an online thing, u2.com, and they still release every year or so something for their fan club members, and the only way to get it is if you're a fan club member. And so over the year, I've collected a number of these different things: remix albums, live albums, alternate takes, other live stuff. They've been doing them in these sort of size packages that are books with the discs either in the front and or the back if they're 2 disc sets. Now this one was a single, but then having had a lot of photos and write-ups and stuff like that about it. And this was for the Octoon Baby live performance in its entirety, getting that as a live album. So some very cool releases that have come out through the fan club. And this one was released for the How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. So not only was it fitting that they had just announced the 20th anniversary release of it, that they're dropping a whole album worth of unreleased material from it, and that's where my mind was, but that I found this one, the one missing fan club release that I didn't have, I found. Not only that, I got it for $1. So this has 8 live tracks on it recorded from that era, but it also has a CD-ROM on here of Vertigo live in Milan, plus some screensavers, wallpapers, and stuff like that. So it's a little beat up, which is why it's $1 apparently, or so I was told at least by Anthony from Sound Exchange. But since I don't have it, and it's one of those ones that was very pricey on eBay, at least the last time I checked, any of these things are, because they come and they go, they sell out so quick, and they're limited edition, and they're only available for that year that the fan club is doing it. And then after that, if you didn't get it, you didn't get it. And most U2 fans don't want to part with these things, so they don't really turn up all that often. But I've now found 2 of these at Sound Exchange. I've been very happy about that and able to do that. So getting that was probably my big score and my big shock and surprise, that when you're having that much enjoyment for a particular artist but already think you own everything, and then you find one more thing you didn't have, how cool is that? All right, I got sent this in the mail, and I want to thank Scott Mosher for it, the Oceans of Night mastermind. He is the guitar player and songwriter and everything, and this being a project for which he has multiple different vocalists who come in. He's also got Scott Oliva who came in and did this, and I've talked to you about both of those guys because whether we're talking about the Scott Mosher solo album or the Oceans of Night, this particular album, which is called Midnight Rising, both of these feature Scott Oliva as the lead vocalist on all, if not the bulk of the tracks that we're hearing from those. And I've talked to you about those several times already. I just wanted to reference that because if you've enjoyed any of that, this is the brand new 2024 album from Oceans of Night. It's been 10 years, a decade since they put out their last album, which was this one in 2014. So now we get Mindstorm. And this one here has a many more variety of vocalists on here than on the previous album, which, as I said, had Scott Oliva singing on it. He sings on, I think, the first track or maybe the second one, but after that, it goes on to a bunch of other people. And it's really interesting, the people that have been chosen to sing on here. I enjoyed it very much. And again, after I have more time to digest this, you'll probably see a 1-minute review the same way I did for both of these. And I know those of you that are progressive metal fans out there and like the stuff that you've heard from this, I think you're going to very much enjoy this. So I'd already go ahead and suggest that those of you that enjoy progressive metal like Fates Warning and Queensryche, go check out this Oceans of Night album, Mindstorm. All right, and the last piece of music that I picked up, at least, Twisted Sister Rough Cuts, an original Secret Records pressing of this, and I got it for a pretty good deal at $15. It's not in perfect condition, but that's okay for me. It has a little bit of a bend on it, a little bit of wear on the sleeve, but I'm okay with it. So this was their first 4-song EP with songs like What You Don't Know, Shoot 'Em Down, Under the Blade, and Leader of the Pack, that wouldn't actually turn up until their 4th studio album, Come Out and Play. So kind of interesting for that song to appear here and then not turn up for so long until later on. But all in all, I love those original pressing things, and the fact that this has never come out as a CD, EP, or anything like that, although the 4 songs have been bonus tracks on reissues, and I do have it that way on CD. I wanted to get this on vinyl. So added that to the collection, and that's the musical aspect. But I mentioned having had some shirts, and if you didn't already see my unboxing video for these new shirts that I got from SocieTees, I wanted to share with you these shirts and just give you another way to check them out. So this website that I go to and visit quite often and have partnered with and collaborated with SocieTees, Tees at the end of it, does these really great, very soft shirts, all officially licensed. This killer Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance shirt. I try always to get these interesting ones that are a little unique. Toto 4, so I love how this is a print on the red shirt, that it's not just a square album cover pressed on, say, a black shirt. Something else that I like, this unique one that is a Warrant t-shirt celebrating cherry pie, but does not actually say Warrant or cherry pie anywhere on it. So a little fun, a little tongue-in-cheek on that if you don't know who the band is. I needed some more thrash, so I got an Anthrax State of Euphoria. It's my favorite album from the band. I had an Alice Cooper shirt, but the logo on it was not very prominent or was down at the bottom, and I needed a better one up top like that for you guys when watching me. So when I'm doing something with Alice Cooper, I can have Alice Cooper promptly on the screen with you guys. Constrictor 1986 tour. And this one here, one of my favorite ones. This one, a classic Ozzy Osbourne logoed shirt. Oftentimes his stuff, I don't really care for the art that makes it to the shirts and stuff like that. But this here was very, very killer, and it's got that type of worn logo like it's been washed a gazillion times. And but again, very soft, and these things hold up very well over time being washed and stuff like that. So definitely highly recommend this company, SocieTees. I'm going to leave a link to them in the description if you want to head on over there and check out any of these 6 shirts as well as other ones. A lot of the shirts I wear here on this channel are from them. So if you see me watching, there's a good chance that that shirt could be purchased from that website. And as I said, they certainly do these things upright. So all in all, there you go. A little bit of music, LPs, CDs, and all these killer shirts. I hope you enjoyed checking out all of my new finds from this past week. Let me know what you got. What is your latest new find, the one that you're really super enjoying right now? All right, everyone, have a good one, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.